probably the number one question I get from everybody that wants to start selling on Amazon is, how much money do I need? What does it take to start selling on Amazon? How much money do I need? Well, here's the answer. There is no magic number. You'll hear people say you can start with $500. You'll hear other people say you need at least $2,000. Others say you need $5,000. Others say, no, you can't do it for under 20. It's too competitive. It's too saturated. You need crazy amounts of money. And the answer is, there is no magic number. Yes, it is true. The more money that you have, the faster you're going to be able to grow, and the more options you're going to have for different products you can sell. So the less money you have, the fewer options you're going to have, and the harder it's going to be to actually find a product to sell, to be honest with you. So it's better to start with more than it is to start with less. But starting with less doesn't mean you can't do it. It just means some of your options are going to be much more restricted. The number one thing you want to focus, though, no matter how much money you have to start this, is on the bottom line, not on the top line. You'll see people sometimes on Facebook groups be showing screenshots of their sales from Prime Day, or their sales from this, or some of the gurus that are trying to sell courses will show you these sales. Don't be tricked by any of that stuff. I know a lot of people that are selling millions of dollars on Amazon, and they don't have two nickels to rub together because they don't have the right margins, they don't have the right inventory control, the right project management control, the right projections. They're just a mess. So don't let those fool you. And a lot of times those things will include promotions that they're doing, or other things that you don't know what the discounts they're giving off of that. So that those big sales figures can sometimes actually be negative profits. So don't always focus on the take home, not on the top line. And that's crucial. That bottom line is what's crucial in Amazon. And so there's a lot of people that are happy selling $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year on Amazon. They've got a $50,000 profit that they can put in their pocket, and they're happy. So don't think you have to be the biggest, and don't get too competitive with this thing and you have to keep up with the Joneses, because that may not be what's going to make you happy or what's going to be best for you. So when you're starting, though, the more money you have, the faster you can get going. The less money you have, the longer it's going to take to scale up, and that's okay. But here's the key factor, and this is the one you want to write down on your notepad right now as you're listening to this. You need at least 2.5 times your initial product cost to start on Amazon. And this is the fundamental thing that people really screw up. They find a good product. Maybe let's say you have $5,000 to start with. That's your budget. That's your life savings, or what you put aside, and you get $5,000 to start this with. Let's just assume that. They'll find a product that's selling well. The X-ray tools, like Bradley showed you earlier, are like, oh my God, I can make a lot of money on this. The MLQ from the factory is $500, and your cost is only $6 a unit. And so you're like, wait, $6 times 500, I can spend $3,000 at the factory. I've got $5,000. I'm good, man. Let's launch this thing. And boom, what's going to happen? You're going to run out of money. You're either going to fail or you're going to run out of money. It's because you don't have enough margin in there. So the minimum you need is 2.5 times your initial product cost. So if you've got $5,000 to invest in your Amazon business, you need to actually divide 5,000 by 2.5. If you divide 5,000 by 2.5, that's $2,000. You need to find an opportunity to actually of a product to sell on Amazon that's not going to cost you more than $2,000 landed cost. Remember the glossaries we talked about landed cost, not just the factory cost, but all in, all your shipping, your duties, your taxes, everything. So that may mean, depending on your duties and taxes, the cost from the factory might be $1,200 to $1,500 or somewhere in that range, depending, or it could be even a little bit lower. That's what you got to find to start with. Why the number 2.5? Actually, 3 is even better. If you can do 3, that's even better. But 2.5 is the bare minimum, and my recommendation. It's because you're going to have unexpected expenses. You're going to have software expenses. You're going to have advertising expenses. You're going to have 3PL expenses. You're going to have to do some sort of Facebook ads or some sort of launch, most likely, to get your product going. Those are all going to cost money. Plus, if you're successful, you're going to have to order again from the factory. Amazon doesn't pay you for anywhere from 3 to 5 weeks. So from the time that you actually sell your first product, Amazon has to ship it to the customer, and then a clock starts ticking of usually 7 days. It varies, but it's typically 7 days. Amazon gives the customers a window to actually potentially return the product, even though they have longer, but they give them a little window to make sure there's no problems. And then the money shows up into your account as available, as not available, but as earned income. And then Amazon typically only pays you every 2 weeks. Now there are options and ways to get that faster, but typically it's every 2 weeks. So there's actually a big lag there from the time you actually sell and ship something to the time you actually get the money. So if you're successful selling and you start seeing a pattern, you're going to be needing to order from your factory before you've actually even been paid for most of your first sales. Because if you wait until you've gotten paid for most of your first sales to place the next order, chances are if you're doing well, you're going to run out of stock. And remember what I said earlier in one of the other modules, if you run out of stock on Amazon, that could be the death knell of your product. It's going to be difficult to get your momentum back. Not that you can't do it, but it's going to be difficult to get the momentum back, especially if you're out of stock for more than a week. If it's a long period of time, you could be doing yourself a big disservice and just wasting your time when you come back in stock. So you don't want to run out of stock if at all possible. So that means you need to place another order. So if your factory order was, let's say, $1,500 out of that $2,000, the factory's going to want at least 30% of that up front. So you're going to need about $500 of that up front to place the order for them to start making the next batch, and you still haven't been paid from Amazon for the first batch. So there's all this cash flow gaps in here. Everything looks good on paper, but the way the cash moves is different than the way it looks on paper. So you got to keep that in mind. So that's why it's 2.5 times. So if you got $20,000 to start your Amazon business, you need to be looking for a product that's in the $8,000 range, because 20,000 divided by 2.5 is 8,000. So your landed cost should be about 8,000 at that max. Now maybe you want to split that amongst 2 products, but I recommend you actually start with 1 product and not 2, and don't do too many variations either. Try to stick with just 1, and then later on add additional products and add additional variations. Get your feet wet first, see how the system works before you go all in. So that's the key number there. If I had to tell somebody, someone's saying, Kevin, what should I really have to start this? I would say 5,000 is a good number. If you have less, you can give it a go. You're going to be more limited. But 5,000 would be a good baseline number to start. So now if you want a actually really good case study of someone that had $5,000 to start with, take a look at what Bradley did. It's on the Serious Sellers podcast. I'm not sure exactly which number it is on Serious Sellers podcast, or it's actually on the Helium 10 blog, where he took $5,000 and he actually launched 10 different products with that $5,000. And since then, he's actually grown that to now he's using the receipts, the income from that, and working and turning it, and now doing 1 product for $5,000 each. So he kind of stair steps his way up. He started with $5,000 with some really simple, easy products that didn't cost much, got those going, and then took the profits from those. And now he's using $5,000 per product, and that company's going to do about $500,000 in sales per year on Amazon. So it's possible to do it. So take a look at that blog post. There should be a link down below here in the notes that'll actually take you right to it, and the episode, of Serious Sellers podcast, and take a look at that there. Now the other thing, like we talked about, don't be expecting that you're going to quit your job right away when you start this business. You're probably not even going to be able to take a paycheck for a while because you're going to have to work and turn the money. So unless you've got a lot of money to live on, you've got your bills covered, you need to stay with the job that you hate right now for at least a little bit longer. Otherwise, too many people think they can start taking money out. Well, I'm going to pay myself a salary. I did my spreadsheets here. I remember I had a guy come up to me a couple of years ago at an event and show me his spreadsheet, and he was taking $3,000 a month out. I'm like, dude, where are you getting this money from? You're messing with yourself. You're screwing yourself here. And he's like, yeah, you're right. And he had to take it all back out. So don't expect to take anything out for a while. This is more of a long-term play. You're hoping to build this up to where you can take money out and hopefully eventually actually sell it where you can take a boatload of money out of your business. Another thing is when you're evaluating products, and you'll see this when we get more deeper into this module, I personally don't recommend anything under $20. Now, you'll see a lot of products that are selling for $5, $8, $13 on Amazon. Those products are the super easy ones that a lot of people get into. There's a lot of sellers from China that actually focus on those because they have a price advantage. They have some shipping advantages with what's called e-packet, where the U.S. government and the Chinese government, they subsidize the shipping costs that we can't, as Westerners, compete with. They have the advantage of speaking the language and being able to get the prices lower. Sometimes they're doing some, these sellers are doing some little shady tricks and stuff. So selling something below $20 is very difficult to make money on Amazon. You've got to sell volume. and it's difficult unless you've got some sort of IP or patent around or something unique around it that keeps other people off. You may do well for a little while, but it's oftentimes it's short-lived. Unless you've been already selling for, some guys that started in 2014, they're doing great selling these lesser price things. But people starting in today's world that don't have the reviews built up, don't have the moat around them, it's pretty difficult. So I recommend looking at products that sell for at least $20 or higher. The magic point is really around $20 to $100. Now, sometimes selling some of the best opportunities on Amazon is where everybody else doesn't want to go, because there's a lot of courses that will teach you to find something that fits in a shoebox. It's lightweight. It's not in the electronics category. It's not in this. It can be air freighted over. It doesn't have to sit on a ship. And there's some good products that meet that criteria, but if everybody's looking for that kind of thing, that means everybody's looking for that kind of thing. And you don't want to be the 100th person selling the same thing. And a lot of times when a good opportunity appears for something that's on X-ray, for something that's under $20, by the time you get it made and get it over here, there might have been one or two sellers at the time that you found it. By the time you get it in stock, there's like 100 people selling this already. And you're like, where do these people all come from? It's because they're following the same formula and the same strategies that everybody else is teaching, and they're finding the same thing. And so you don't want to be one of those people. It's going to be very, very difficult. I still see people today launching baby blankets and silicone spatulas and barbecue gloves and all these things that they saw in some webinar that people made look good. If you see it on a webinar as an example, don't do it. That's number one. Just don't do it. And there's great opportunity though in the products that are selling higher. Stuff that sells for $300 to $500 per item that maybe you only sell 3 or 4 a week or 5 a week. They're not glamorous. They're not, it's farm equipment or stuff for the ranch or stuff for outside stuff. There's tons of opportunity there where you can buy. Sometimes the MOQs on these are 25 or 50. You can buy a handful of these, and these are things that nobody else usually messes with because they're too big or they don't fit the formula that they were taught in some YouTube course. So some of those items can be great opportunities. You don't have to stock as many, and for every one you sell, you have $100 profit, and you can build up your business and get things going, but sometimes by selling those type of items. So look where everybody else is not looking, and we're going to show you in how to find products using the Helium 10 tools and some other methods and some of the later modules that'll help you really hone in on what you should be doing. But these are just some things you should be thinking about. Now, in the next module that's coming up, I'm going to share with you a couple spreadsheets from a couple friends of mine. One is from Profit First, and the ladies over at Profit First believe in that you should pay yourself first. You should build your company so that you can take a little bit of money out as you're building it. And it's a really good spreadsheet that we're going to walk you through that will show you exactly what you, depending on what your goal is, where you need to be in your Amazon business, how many products you need to be in, and what sales level you need to be to actually make those profits. And then the other spreadsheet we're going to show you in the next module is that you'll be able to download these spreadsheets as well as we do the walkthrough, is from Northbound Group. And the Northbound Group is a company that helps Amazon sellers exit their business. So they can come in, they're strategic advisors. They come in and can analyze your business and say, hey, if you do this, this, and this, you're going to be able to sell it for this much more. Or let's help you get your operating agreement in order. Or let's help you get your different things in order. One of my companies actually hired them from the get-go. Before we had sold a single thing, we hired Northbound Group and said, hey, get all of our ducks in a row, because in 3 years we want to sell this. We want to make sure all of our licensing agreements, all of our operating agreements, all of our financials are all perfect from day one, so that when we sell it, we don't have to go back and redo a whole bunch of stuff. And they come in and do that kind of thing. So they've got a spreadsheet that's going to show you how to really maximize the value of your potential exit down the road. So we're going to walk through those two spreadsheets. And you also, later on in the course, you'll actually be able to listen to someone from Northbound and someone from Profit First, and they're going to explain some other things in detail as a bonus as part of the course as well. So I'll see you in the next module during those demos.